Okay, good morning. My name is Chris Caius. I'm chairman of the King County Administration Committee, and I'm calling this meeting to order on Wednesday, October 9th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. This is the Administration Committee. Can we have roll call, please?
Berman,
Berman's here.
Gavist,
Gavist here.
Ford, Gums,
Gums here.
Young, Juby,
Should be here.
Caius,
Caius present.
and I do see Tepe online.
I'm sorry.
I see Tepe online as well.
Oh.
Just
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Deputy's
ask-
online.
Great, welcome, Mr. Tepe. The
Still ill. Still ill.
Thanks.
Doesn't sound too good.
Yeah, we're good.
The would ask for unanimous consent for the remote attendance of Mr. Davist, who is away on work. Do I have unanimous consent?
Yes,
Any objections? None? Thank you. So Davist is on as a voting member. I would
Thank you.
entertain a motion or a request for unanimous consent to approve the minutes of September 11th, 2024.
Gums moves.
Gums would then ask
Ask
for
for unanimous consent to approve the minutes of
objection?
September 11, 2024.
Great. No objection. Minutes are approved. Public comment. I have Mr. David Young. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
David Young, I wanted to read a prayer that was handed out to everyone at St. Pat's over the weekend, and just wanted to read this. It has to do with the elections and the election outcome. It's very nonpartisan, so just wanted to read that. It's called The Consecration of the Election to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Mary Immaculate, living tabernacle of the divinity, where the eternal wisdom lies hidden to be adored and served by angels and men. Queen of heaven and of earth, beneath whose sway are subject all things that are lower than God, patroness of the United States of America, sorrowful and mindful of our own sinfulness and the sins of our nation, we come to thee, our refuge and hope. Knowing that our country cannot be saved by our own works, and mindful of how much our nation has departed from the ways of thy Son, we humbly ask that thou wouldst turn thine eyes upon our country to bring about its conversion. We consecrate to thee the integrity of the upcoming election and its outcome, so that what is spiritually and morally best for the citizens of our country may be accomplished, and that all of those who are elected would govern according to the spiritual and moral principles which will bring our nation into conformity with the teachings of thy Son. Give grace to the citizens of this land so that they will choose leaders according to the sacred heart of thy Son, that his glory may be made manifest, lest we be given the leaders we deserve. Trusting in the providential care of God the Father and thy maternal care, we have perfect confidence that thou wilt take care of us and will not leave us forsaken. O Mary Immaculate, pray for us. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young.
Wow.
Then as far on to next on finance, there are no others, I'm guessing. Yeah, okay, then financial report, the reports are on file. We will not have any, do we have anything on the master plan this morning?
This is Roger Fonstock from Buildings and IT. There's no update on the master plan other than the current plan is for us to be doing a presentation at Committee of the Whole. The date is 10/22, so that is October 22nd. The agenda for that has not been posted yet, but we're working on that with the county board office.
Great, thank you. And then on to item 8, Executive Director's Report. Mr. Fonstock, continuing.
We have nothing formal to report. I did want to mention that we have been trying to work through the question about Amazon receipts and reporting through finance. I provided a couple different options we're trying to work through, but we actually think it's probably not the invoices or the data from Amazon. I think it's how items maybe are entered into the accounts payable, providing more detail when you enter them for the accounts payable, as opposed to all of the detail you get from, say, the Amazon vendor. So we're going to work on that. I just spoke with Ms. Juby about her request for that, and we're going to continue to try to see if we can get that to be more apparent in the actual accounts payable system. So that's all we have for this month.
Okay. Then, just out of curiosity, is there an update on the air conditioners and those ARPA funded?
So yes, we are moving forward with all of the ARPA applications and projects. There are numerous projects in numerous stages. You're going to see a couple of resolutions today that have kind of fill in the blank resolutions. The reason those resolutions are in that form is that one of them, the bid is due next week, and the other one is due the following week. I think they're the 16th and 23rd or something like that. But what we want to do is have those on executive and have the numbers in them for executive committee. So we would appreciate getting those moved. The other alternative to having them on the November agenda would be to have a special meeting to have an admin approve of them in time for exec. So we're comfortable with either way, but we wanted to give you the option to approve them and move them to exec. We could put in the numbers from the bid packages. These are all going out to bid. We've had lots of vendors walking through. They're closing the bid packages, which I'll talk about when we get to the resolutions. But that's really the timeline of keeping pace with the ARPA money to get that money obligated in time before the end of the year. We're trying to obligate them at the November county board meeting. We'll have all the bids back. We'll have all the prices. And even if it's not on consent agenda, we'd be happy to present the resolutions and talk about them in full county board. But I think they'll be fairly clear. Their bid package is done with purchasing, and they're also done with our architect and engineer. So they'll be final numbers, and we'll be ready to sign the contracts and get the money committed so we can start the projects. We do have the obligation to contract the money for the ARPA funds and have an invoice from for accounts payable to process to report before the end of the quarter, which is the end of December. So we're trying to make sure we're well in advance. In November, we'll have the contracts, we'll have the bids all done, wrapped up at your November meeting. You're going to have a short meeting in November. It's going to be quick.
Oh, just jinx that.
We'll get to those. But yeah, that's our current plan. We do have other contracts that are ongoing that are already executed for some of the air conditioning projects. And those are going to be coming in as well to be signed. But everything is being planned for the November county board meeting.
So actually, some of the resolutions we're going to see now will not have numbers in them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, there's a pipe chase and a judicial center water quality improvement. They're items C and D. You'll see the resolution in the packet has, we don't have the vendor and we don't have the total dollar amount. We do have the budgeted amounts from ARPA.
And you're requesting that we send these ahead?
We need these to go to executive committee.
Is there, well, I'll just ask for a consensus before we actually dive into these to make sure that this is okay. Juby's looking at me like, no.
I'm not comfortable sending something ahead without amounts.
So we would need a special meeting then in order to get these
Is that-
approved.
I mean, I'm one person, the rest of the people would be okay, that's fine, but I need amounts.
I agree with Leslie.
Okay. Then
I
4 or 5,
Gums.
because we won't be able to pass it with one more that doesn't like that. Okay. So these two will have to be addressed in a special board meeting then,
So
special committee meeting.
Oh. Can't we vote?
Well, I asked for consensus and of the,
Well, I think it'd be appropriate to when we get to it, when he presents it, to see if it gets voted down or not, because
so,
it might pass. I won't change my vote, but I think Dale is correct that we should be voting on them.
Okay, does that sound reasonable then? Okay, I'm just the
Okay.
chair.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I was gonna say, Heidi, can you look up when the executive
Lot of
committee
logic.
meeting is, just so we know? We'd have to do it, a week before. So
A week
executive,
before what?
a week before executive, we would actually have to
These go
have,
straight to executive then or finance?
well, if you vote and move them to executive today, they would go to executive. If you don't, we need a special meeting to
Vote them.
be
The
the
numbers,
week before executive to get them on executive agenda again.
The next executive is November 7th at 10 a.m.
7th. So we
Or
would
8:30, I
be,
mean.
we would be meeting
No.
November,
Hold on. 11/7
week
at 1
bef-
p.m.
the last week of October, we would have to have a special meeting for those two resolutions, just to get those filled in and have you folks approve of moving them to executive. So that's just the timetable of it. We're trying to move as fast as we can to get these things in front of you, and the bids are out there. We're giving them time. We've had a couple of moments where we had additional people want to walk through the projects. We've allowed them to do that. We scheduled a second bidders walkthrough and some other things. So we're trying to give it time so we get good competitive bids, but at the same time,
Okay.
we
I
gotta
just
get
don't
it
want to
done.
get caught at the last minute realizing that we can't do it. So as long as it's feasible, we'll go ahead and deal with these one at a time.
Okay.
And then when we get to those that we don't have numbers in,
Fair
then
enough.
we will refer those to the special committee meeting that we're going to be held.
We'll get a date for it.
Okay.
Hopefully before we leave.
Forward, we have another
right?
opportunity.
I'm sorry, Mr. Berman?
I said, we need to move it forward. We have other opportunities, but I think we don't want to stop the procedure along the way.
Okay, Mr. Ford is here. Note that.
Ron Ford,
Wait, what? Yeah, what?
come on in, man. See ya.
Is that wrong?
Exactly.
Be nice.
We're going, Mr. Ford, just to bring you up to speed, really, we just got to the resolutions. And there's two of the resolutions, C and D, don't have numbers in them yet, and we're going to bring them up, but if we don't have a majority to pass them to executive, we will be holding them for a special administration meeting later in the month of October. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go on to item A. Does that sound, I know that's pretty fast for having just walked in, but
No, I got
Okay,
you.
okay. I would take more time.
I
I'm
still
glad-
have some level of comprehension. I don't know
Well,
what level, but
that's
it's
my
it's
problem.
there.
I don't, so I'm going with the lowest bar, which is mine. Okay, then I would request a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing purchase of equipment and tool rental services from Sunbelt Rentals Incorporated through Omnia for the Building Management Department, moved by Berman, by
Young,
Ford. And then Mr. Fonstock.
Yes, this is a agreement through Omnia that we want to participate in for tool rentals. We rent things, everything from brush cutting equipment to just general purpose tools and equipment from Sunbelt Rentals, lifts, things like that. It is an Omnia joint purchasing agreement that purchasing in the county is entered into through the Master International Contracting Purchase Agreement. They call it MICPA, if you've heard that. The contract is not to exceed $100,000 and the contract ends in October of 2025. It's budgeted expense in our maintenance and operating, and we're recommending approval.
And that was for 100,000
Yes.
to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Is there any questions, Mr. Fonzo? Yes, Mr. Young?
David Young, just one question. What was the amount rented from them last year,
I think
roughly?
Right now, we're at about 25,000.
Oh,
And
okay.
we're doing all of these ARPA projects and things, and we're concerned we're gonna have to move a bunch of things. We're also using some equipment rentals to do some of the maintenance of the Judicial Center. If you haven't noticed it yet, the Judicial Center, all of the brush, all of the debris for probably a 50-acre parcel all the brush has been cleared for the most part, and we've been using staff to basically rent large brush cutters and equipment to go out there and cut that. We want to continue and do more of it.
That's,
I don't know if we'll get to 100,000, but we're at about 25 right now. And that's what caused us to want to get this agreement officially in place because we'll soon either have to bid or we'll get a joint purchasing agreement.
okay, Ms. Juby?
Okay, I have a couple things.
Sure.
First of all, Sunbelt is out of South Carolina.
Yes.
So we're renting material out of South Carolina.
No, the companies are local. It's a national.
So we have a
franchise.
local, so we're,
Where are they out of Montgomery or Sugar Grove?
There's one right now on Route 60.
Microphone, please, Brent.
Brent Brasky, sorry.
Brent Brasky, Building Management. There's one on just west of Randall on Route 64, and we have some others in the area as
so
well.
Kane County.
Kane
So we're giving
County.
it to King County. Great.
Yes.
Which also led to my, are these localized prices? Like, because stuff is different, like the North Carolina or the South Carolina company's not
Yeah.
setting the prices, right? We have a local price.
It's a national contracted price off of their list price. So they
So-
give you a catalog of prices. They're better than retail, but they're
But
just
we don't know
competitively
if we
bid.
could be getting it cheaper if we went with someone else.
That's something that you could potentially find someone to provide similar equipment. I don't know if they would provide it at a better price or
Okay.
more expensive. This is something that we've talked with purchasing about, and they've supported us using a purchasing agreement for the rentals just because of obviously the work it takes to know ahead of time what equipment you're looking for, what you want. We don't really know exactly how many lifts we'll need to move stuff this year, or what type of lifts. So getting a contract that's more broad that covers a whole, catalog or inventory of equipment gives us the flexibility on a week to get a piece of equipment to do a job, as opposed to if we don't have something like this, we would have to literally get like proposals or quotes and a contract in place and then run it through the board.
Right.
And it could take us, 45 days to get to the
I'm
point.
just concerned
so
about the, because rental is expensive
It is.
and
We're contemplating buying the brush cutter.
I would kind of maybe like to rather see that than
Yeah.
rental because I don't think it's in our best interest and I am really concerned about how expensive all these these rentals are, especially if we're not bidding out each of the items, which is not a new concern of mine. So, thank you.
Yep.
Concern noted. Anybody else? Questions? Mr. Young?
Is it Rental Max? I used to rent stuff from them all the
Yeah.
time on St. Charles and Randall, what they're talking about. That's now part of Sunbelt Rentals. So
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment? Okay.
We've had a good relationship with them. They've been able to provide us with everything we need on a
Great.
timely, they deliver. So
Any other questions about this particular one? Any changes or anything? Okay. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
yes.
Young,
yes.
Juby,
Maybe
Caius.
Yes. Motion passes. Item B, resolution, may I have a motion and a second to present, potentially approve a resolution authorization of the electric utility contract for Kane County. And that we've been moved by Gums, second by
Juby.
Juby.
Okay.
Mr. Fonstock?
So you have a resolution authorizing the electric utility contract. Every contract that we do for electricity, which is at all of our different buildings, are on different contracts. We use City Electric from St. Charles, Geneva. We also use ComEd. We have Dynegy. We have Constellation. And there probably are one or two others that we get smaller contracts from. We have a current contract with Dynegy that is coming to an end in December, and we have some other contracts for electricity that are coming to an end. When we go to get pricing for this, you use a broker for electric utility that will go out and get competitive pricing from all of the different electric providers that will propose prices. The prices are fixed and an offer for 24 hours. So you have to get pre-approval from the board for the chairman to sign the electric agreements within that 24-hour period. For the last maybe decade, this has been going on, and we seek approval for the broker to get us the best price. And then we ask for the chair to sign the brokered electric services agreement, and then we will bring it back to the county board after it's been brokered and purchased, just for the ratification or the final review of the electric utility. It is a different process than almost anything else we do. It has been historically done this way to get brokered prices, the best competitive rates that we can get. The vendor in this case is a professional services company, Progressive Energy Group. Progressive Energy was selected by a qualification process. Environmental Water Resources, Jody Walnick, has worked with them for the solar project and electric aggregation, and they provide electric brokering services. Myself and Jody, we discussed this and agreed that we were going to have Progressive Energy do our electrical brokering for the contracts that are due. They, like I said, they've been qualified. They're an existing contractor. We've worked with I can't remember the guy's last name, but Arnie is their representative that we've worked with. And he works with us on the energy bills and auditing our energy bills, but he will be working with his team to do the brokering. So Progressive Energy will give us the table of pricing and their recommendations. They'll give us the terms. And then ultimately myself, a couple staff and Jody will look at them, and we'll make a recommendation and get the paperwork for the chairman to sign. And then once the 24-hour kicks in, there's an electronic signing process for electrical utility. Those contracts can range usually 1 to 3 years. I will tell you, most of the contracts have been 24 months or less because of the fluctuation in utility pricing. And then generally they will offer additional years, but the pricing is generally not favorable. So this is something that's going to happen every 1 to 3 years, no matter what. So there will be a broker with Progressive Energy. They'll give us 24-hour pricing tables for how much the kilowatt hours are going to cost us, delivery charges, all sorts of information. Then they make a recommendation. They provide it to us. Then we basically recommend that they're signed, and then Madam Chair would sign them. They would become effective, and then we bring them back to be ratified and viewed by the board and committee process. But that's historically how it's been done. The last time this was done was probably almost 2 years ago. So if you're not familiar with it, that's the process. So this resolution authorizes that process and will get us set up with another electric utility provider.
That's because, I'm assuming that's because of the volatility of the electric market.
Yes.
So
And
they have to,
for reference sake, I know a lot of people, we maybe how much do we spend on electric utility? We're at about 1.1 million total electric for our budget. So we'll be looking at the kilowatt hour and the cost, and then we have the savings from solar that Arnie is working on, and he'll be able to share with us a little bit more. We'll probably ask Arnie to come in and actually do a presentation about it, because some of the numbers associated with energy are I'm not gonna say they're hard to understand. They're interesting because there's all sorts of interesting fees associated with buying power, and he can explain it better than any of us could ever explain it. But I think it would be good when we bring that in, he could go through the utility costs with us.
any questions, Ms. Juby?
So I'm actually familiar with brokering, so I am okay with sending this forward with no price. However, in the second paragraph, I'm not sure if there's a missing word or if it's a scrivener's error where it says, whereas electricity suppliers will not hold and quoted price longer. I don't know if that's supposed to be a quoted price or if there's a word missing. So I just wanted to bring that
Yeah.
to your attention.
It's A.
Oh, is it? Okay, I
Should be A.
wasn't sure. Okay.
That
Thanks.
probably survived 10 years of resolutions. Hopefully, that's good though. Thank you. We'll correct that.
Scrivener's error, anything else?
Yeah. I noticed it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Davis,
That was yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Comes yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Should be I.
Caius.
Guys, yes.
Passes.
On to item C. May I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract for Kane County's Adult Justice Center HVAC pipe chase improvements project bid number 24-064-KK. Moved by
Berman,
Berman, second by
Young.
Davis,
Young. Thank you.
Okay, so what you
Mr.
have, this is one of the two resolutions related to ARPA. And this is related to the HVAC in the Adult Justice Center and the pipe chase that is throughout the building. We'll be working on air conditioning, ventilation systems, heating throughout the jail. It's probably one of the larger ARPA projects that we have going on. There is a bid package out for this on BidNet with Kane County. Purchasing has been working with us to put this out. The closing date for this one is 10/23. And that's what we were talking about, trying to get this on the November agenda with the extension of the bid package and trying to accommodate vendors and contractors that want to compete on this. We're trying to be as flexible as we can, but we need to get it in and get it signed in November. So the resolution you have describes the bid, and it describes who would be the lowest responsive bidder and the price. It is not filled in, and that's because we haven't received the bids yet. We'll get a bid synopsis. We'll get the table of costs and values. And the goal would be to fill that in to provide to executive for approval at executive. The alternative is that the week before executive, we would schedule a special meeting to just approve of the lowest bidder or the most responsible bidder. Heidi, for this project, you have the current budget for this? What our current budget is for this project, just so they can kind of put it into perspective.
This is Heidi Files. The current construction budget is 11.3 million. And that includes basically replacing the HVAC systems in the jail towers, A and B, and also the medical intake, the Sally Port, all the sheriff's offices. It includes renovations to the pipe chase for sealants, insulation, and structural reinforcements. The current estimate is about 11.3, but we won't know until we get the bids back, obviously.
Okay. Any questions? Juby?
For the sake of Mr. Ford, I just want to reiterate that I have concerns filling in a blank document, especially now that I know it could be as high as 11.3 million. So I'll be voting no on this until the figures are there.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please, unless there's a motion.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, no.
Young,
No.
Juby,
No,
Caius.
Guys, yes.
Passes with 3 noes.
Okay, thank you.
Then on to item D, may I have a motion and second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract for Kane County Judicial Center Water Quality Improvements bid number 24-062-KK.
Berman moves.
By Berman, second by
Davis,
Davis. Onstock?
Okay, this is similar. This is an ARPA project for water quality at the Judicial Center. So the water systems in that building, we're looking at replacing and upgrading a good portion of what is in the water system. This is out to bid now. This one will close on 10/15. So it's literally closing next week. But again, the timing of this is such that we don't have the lowest responsible bidder and the price from the bid synopsis because the closing hasn't happened. But in order to make the November county board agenda to meet the committee flow, we're asking for approval. We will have the information for this again, probably a day or two after the 15th, once we vet all the proposals. And then we would fill in the blanks and have that ready for you to exec. If this is not moved forward today to exec, we would require a special meeting of administration to approve of this resolution approximately a week to 10 days before executive committee to get it on executive agenda. So Heidi, the budget for the Judicial Center water quality ARPA.
Yeah, it's about $500,000.
Okay, any questions? For Roger, comments?
Mr. Chair Gums.
Ms. Gums?
Again, I would just like to reiterate, just like with legislation, if it's not filled in, then I'm fine with having a special meeting, but those things matter and I don't want to set a precedent here. So that's why I'm voting no on these. That's really it.
And I would tell you it's exceptional for us too. We're trying to get contracts and actually the invoice receipts for the reporting process for ARPA to make sure we have those in December because of the dollar amounts. If you don't secure invoices and receipts, the money is in jeopardy. So that's our urgency. Otherwise, we would be fine with waiting a month, but
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, if I
Yeah.
may, I totally respect that, but there are,
no.
I just can't vote on stuff that's not
Thank you.
filled.
I would make one comment or ask a question.
Sure.
If we pass these without the numbers, we still are they'll be brought before exec and the full board, correct? With the
Oh,
numbers.
yes, they'll be and I said that, as I said,
Chances to vet it or change it or.
yes, they will be at exec and then full county board. If they want to be pulled from agenda to have a full explanation, we can do that.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just to
Ms.
follow up on that,
Sure.
again, totally respect that, except for we have a committee structure. And that's my concern, is just to stay within the committee structure. And if we have to have a special meeting, I'm 100% fine with that, as long as it's not on a day I can't be here.
What? You can show up?
Of course, I'm going to show up.
Well, it's been
I
touch
hear.
and go about getting a quorum here lately, but Mr. Ford, do you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we're talking about numbers here, which seems to be, and is my concern too, I will admit that. So if we hold them off to a special meeting, what's going to happen different in the special meeting?
We would have the numbers.
We had numbers. So can we have numbers by exec?
Yes,
Yes,
that's the idea.
yeah.
They'll be
Okay.
fully filled out and completed with a bid synopsis and a proposal at exec. And we would be prepared to walk through the entire packet if needed. We will have the numbers at that time. And like I said, we would have them by the 23rd of this month. It's just the timing of our meeting is, I don't know if I would call it unfortunate, but we're the day after county board. So all of our business that has to happen next month has to happen like now. So
Yep.
we don't have the convenience of like a 2-week time frame where we can get it into county board. We have to be a month ahead. So, and the timing of getting these out to bid and the timing that it took to get the approvals and everything else, we're just trying to make sure that we don't put any of that money at jeopardy by not having the contract signed. And then you also have the election coming up, which we know that will cause some disruption. We support and help with the election the first week of November, and we actually have already started. While we're sitting here, we're actually dealing with some stuff right now that we have to address with the clerk's office, but we'll be very busy going into that first week of November. And then you run into Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays. We just don't want to do anything where it's like, hey, we only have this one day where we can make something happen and we depend on all these other, dependencies. So we're just trying to give us fair warning that we need these done in November, as long as the board supports the overall project and funding of it. That's the timing that we need. And then going into November, getting the contracts finalized, signed, getting an actual order in place and an invoice for the initial services to start. You have to have an invoice paid. Accounts payable cycle is 2 weeks. So we have to hit one of the 2-week accounts payable cycles in December to pay a bill to get a receipt back.
Mr. Chairman, Davis, little
It's
comment.
that specific.
Okay, Mr. Davist?
So absolutely respect the comments of my colleagues about, doing things with blanks not filled in. I'm happy to report that this is really an exception, not the rule, and would submit that does follow our committee structure. Our committee structure is in part built the way it is so that you have this kind of opportunity or redundancy to address the same issue more than once. This is this is a very uncommon situation, but by allowing it to move forward, as Roger has just explained, we're not departing from our committee structure or procedures. We're using them to our advantage, with the clock ticking. So I'm comfortable with letting it move from here, knowing that it will still be fully evaluated with the blanks filled in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis. Any other comments or questions, follow-up? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Oh, ye of little faith. Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
No.
Young,
No.
Juby,
Juby, no.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes of 3 noes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Then may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing additional funds for the Kane County Building Management Department's carpet replacement program, moved by
Berman,
Berman, second by Ford. Mr. Fonstock.
Yeah, this resolution is for additional funding for carpet replacement that we've been doing throughout the county. It is part of our capital program to replace carpet, and they've actually replaced quite a bit of carpet throughout the county. So we're at the end of a contract with Family Flooring, and we're going to be moving on. There was a new vendor that's being onboarded. Yesterday at the county board meeting, they tabled the Mazzarini resolution. Since yesterday, that vendor actually has reached out to us and tried to follow up, which we are working with purchasing on Mazzarini to get them onboarded for flooring. They were the lowest responsible bidder going forward. This is the contract that we've been using for a couple of years with Family Flooring. We're trying to close out all of their invoices from capital, and we need authorization to from the bid that we had 34019 to authorize all the invoice payments and closeout. It's an additional $130,000 in flooring, and it brings our total carpet replacement project to $430,000. It's in the capital buildings improvement budget, and we're recommending approval.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Then on to facility usage. This is
Yes.
we're just asking for a consent. on
Yes,
one,
this
right?
is a emergency management. They're doing a coat drive at the government center. I believe it's in the back parking lot. The date was, I had the date. Let's see. It's on November 10th. If you'd
10th,
like to come,
okay.
I believe it's between 11 a.m. and 1. I think they're going to be getting out some Kane County Connects and some other announcements about that. But it's a coat drive. It's charity. We're recommending approval, consensus. It's a good thing.
The judge seen this? Chief
This is
Judge?
at the government center. This is you folks.
Oh, it's right here. Oh,
It's
okay.
right back
Never
here.
mind.
They used to do it, I think, at the at the judicial center courthouse, and they're trying to move it here.
And what day is that on?
November
10th,
10th. That's what I have.
which is what day of the week?
Right.
Not a lot going on then. Ms. Gums.
Thank you. I just have a statement to make. I would, they report to judicial, but our OEM folks, we held something for the volunteers. What they're doing is extraordinary. And I find this, the progress and the decision that we made as a county board to hire Scott is proving to be exceptional. And I know we do this every year, but the promotion of it and all of these Kane County Connects and our PIO and all those things, they matter. And I hope going forward that we can support everything that OEM asked for.
Okay. Good sentiment. Thank you. All right, so that would be by unanimous consent, their approval,
I think we have to vote on it.
consensus?
Consensus.
I think we
Consider-
have to vote on it.
Would you? Unanimous consent, any objection?
No.
You want to vote on it? I'm not opposed.
I'm not opposed.
Make a motion. Or can-
I'll
can we
move
vote?
that we accept this by unanimous consent. I don't know what you want me to
Okay.
say.
Any objection? It's happening then. Thank you. All right, and then instead of a Charles Lasky, I see that we have information technology and Mr. Roger Fonstock.
Yes. Morning. You got a couple of resolutions that we want to go through
You,
for
oh,
that, and
you have an update and before that, or just do the resolutions?
just the resolutions today. Charles is actually at a conference of different IT managers throughout the state of Illinois that they get together once a year. And so I don't know if he's even, is Charles online, Blair? Okay, but I hope he's sharing and learning and working with the other county IT folks.
Playing nice. I'm sure he is. Okay, then may I have a motion and a second to present, potentially approve a resolution authorizing a master service agreement for data center co-location lease with SBA Edge LLC, previously New Continuum for the Information Technologies Department, moved by
Gums will move.
Gums, second by Ford.
Okay, this is
One
Roger Fonstock for IT. The resolution you have is for an ongoing contract that we have been using with SBA Edge. It is co-location leases. So what we do is instead of trying to maintain a data center with generators, batteries, power, infrastructure for our computing power, we actually lease cabinets and utility from a commercial data center. And for that, we have been using SBA, which used to be New Continuum, and they negotiate and work with us on the master service agreement that goes through 2029. The annual amount is 136,500. Just to give you some perspective, all of the infrastructure server systems that we run come through this commercial data center. And instead of using one of these 100-year-old buildings to store our data and commercial information, we're using a tier 1 data center to provide that service. So we get redundant power, we get redundant cooling, we get a guarantee 100% uptime from the tier 1 data center. We have diversification in there, and we run somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 servers inside that data center. They're all virtualized, so it's not like 700 boxes, but it's large computing and about eight big cabinets that we use for that compute. The cost to lease that with power, all of the services, including security services, and they do our network and internet connections through there as well. We pay the $136,000, which part of the discussion going back for this was whether or not we wanted to build and upgrade and maintain a data center here in the county at a capital expense or lease cabinets to do this. So we're recommending approval of the contract with SBA for the data center services and the lease and co-location, 136,500 for fiscal year 2025. And there is a clause in there for constraining them to a 5% increase annually. We haven't had a serious problem with that, but if we need to exit the contract, we can, but they're also capped at 5%. So that's the other part. It's a budgeted expense, and this is how we operate the server and network infrastructure for the county.
And that's in West Chicago.
It's in West Chicago, just in the DuPage Business Park, just off Fabian.
Interesting tour. Maybe we should take it. Tour of
Yeah.
it again. When it first got on the board, we were looking at it.
There's a few
Center.
good videos online too of the data center. There's some video data center tours that we could share. Yeah, they're nice.
That might be interesting. I'm sure Mr. Roth would like.
I'm familiar with that.
Oh, never mind. Yeah. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Caius.
Yes.
Passes.
Item B, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing amendment of the court case management system agreement with Client Success Management and consulting agreement with Tyler Technologies, moved by
Davis
Ford,
moves.
second by Davis.
All right, this is Roger again. This is the case management system and services maintenance and service agreement for the judiciary's court management system. It used to be known as Odyssey. Now they call it Enterprise Court. But what you have in here is the maintenance and service contract, which is $472,971 a year. They have OCR, which is object character recognition, to read documents into text searchable, which is 8,352. E-notify to send notices out from the court electronically, 11,054. There is a client success manager that helps us managing the product line and telling us what types of features and services we can get from their products. They actually come out and work with us to customize solutions. And then that's $55,698. And then there's a client solutions consulting. They are mainly focused on new product acquisition and things that we're looking to provide direct on-site service for upgrades and actual support. We're looking at additional costs for things that we purchase throughout the year for software and integrations to other systems at $70,000. The total is $673,075. This is for the fiscal year 2025. It's important to note that this will go out as an annual renewal every year till 2029 under the current master agreement. It's got the same language to put a cap at 5%. This comes from the judicial and public safety, the judicial portion of the RTA sales tax. I'm sorry. The judiciary has the 127 fund, and the sales tax contributes money into the 127 fund to pay for the court case management system and associated services. Just for reference, this system was purchased back in 2012, I believe. We've been maintaining and upgrading it ever since. The initial project budget for this system and all the related services was about $12 million. Over a course of 5 years, we were putting all of this in place and taking care of it. Since the time that we've installed it using these agreements, we've upgraded the system 3 times. The system's current, it's under good maintenance and good repair. We're scheduling the next upgrade for, I think, another year or 2 out. We just finished an upgrade of it. I think the important part of this is that it's a huge investment, and this is the cost to maintain that investment over time. And I think that's one of the things that kind of prompted the investment and replacement of the system, was to get something that the county could maintain as an asset, mature, upgrade, and all of that is included in these contracts. So we're definitely recommending approval. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to take those on.
Any questions for Roger? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Item number C, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve resolution authorizing purchase of wireless VoIP telecom equipment and services for the Information Technology Department and CaneCom, moved by
Gums.
Gums, second by Ford. Roger?
Yeah. So what you have in front of you is the resolution to purchase telecom equipment and services. A lot of this, I think, is related to the purchase of wireless infrastructure for CaneCom in the county for emergency public safety radio. what we're looking at is how do we connect transmit receive sites for radio towers out in the wild where we don't have fiber infrastructure, we don't have a good utility to provide it. We have to provide radio bridges or bridging technology to do microwave or do a radio frequency to get out there to bring the signals back. In the past, we'd used a lot of copper phone line services from different telephone providers. Those are going away or we're being literally priced out of the market. Some of them have shot up to $1,000 a month to get a circuit at a location. So what was proposed was that we would move to some wireless infrastructure and own the asset as opposed to paying the recurring. And this was done through a radio study with CaneCom and Tricom as a partnership. In the process, we were looking at different suppliers for the equipment and services. One of the local suppliers that we've worked with in the past is Scientel Wireless out of Aurora. And they happen to be on a joint purchasing agreement, the Houston Galveston Area Council. I would add that Scientel, they do work internationally. They're all over the world. They have offices in Texas. They have offices in Aurora. I think they're in Hawaii and a couple of other places in the United States. And they also have international offices. But their headquarters is here in Aurora. So we were talking with them about the equipment that they would recommend and what we should use. And one of the specific radio technology that we want to use, they actually resell through their national purchasing contract. So this is they call it HGAC or a Houston Galveston Area Council agreement. It's used nationwide. The purchasing department and finance are recommending this as a purchasing agreement. It's recognized by the state of Illinois and other states as well. The purchasing department and the county board had the resolution on agenda yesterday. I believe it was off consent. Leslie had asked for it to be off consent to discuss the resolution. So this would be timely based on whether or not we have approval to use the purchasing agreement from county board that was not voted on yesterday because of the lack of a quorum. So I'm not sure exactly the procedural part on this because the joint purchasing agreement did not get voted on yesterday. So this would have been the second month follow-up to getting that approval to use the procurement method. So again, you know, we're in the process trying to follow the direction from purchasing, finance, the attorneys, everybody that's looked at this. The procurement process for the joint purchasing agreement was on agenda yesterday, recommended by finance and purchasing. This is a resolution to use that. So
Ms.
we
Juby,
this is also an ARPA funded project, so we have some of the same time constraints. I know that the Houston Galveston contract is going to be on, is it 16th? You're going to have a special meeting of the county board. So it'll be on the 16th to approve of the joint purchasing agreement. And then this would follow on the 23rd, which would be the executive committee, or no, not 23rd, 7th, he said, 7th of November. So that's the conundrum is, again, you have, you know, timing. This is something that we are looking to use ARPA funding. It's $250,000 for radio infrastructure improvements. And we're recommending approval, but that's the dilemma you're in.
Okay, as the person who removed it from the consent agenda, it's not an approved vendor, so I do not believe we can vote on it. But I would like to tell everyone why I removed it from the consent agenda, because it's yet one more out-of-state consortium that we're using it'll make 4 now in Texas. And I find it really hard to believe that it's meeting any different needs that our other 4 or 3 are, because when I asked what difference it was, I was told, I don't know. So I can't vote on something that's not approved through our county. This is not an authorized vendor for us to use. And I would implore the rest of you, if we're leaving it on the agenda, to please do not vote for it.
So just for some history, we've used Scientel for infrastructure projects over there, and they used to be our vendor from a bid process. That bid expired for us, so we did not renew it because we haven't been doing a lot of wireless infrastructure. When we started looking at this and the timing of ARPA, this is a project that obviously is timely, so we were looking for different contracting vehicles, things that we could use. They are a reseller, one of the largest gold partner resellers for Cambium wireless infrastructure equipment. We've used them before, have good reference with them, and it's on a joint purchasing agreement that's nationally recognized purchasing, finance, and as far as I know, the civil attorneys have all vetted this, and that's how it got on the county board agenda. So it's timing. It has not been approved by the county board, to be perfectly clear. That would have happened yesterday in the meeting. So this is tied to that. I said it would have if it could have.
To come up,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mr.
not me.
Chairman.
Yes, sir, well, actually, I had Gums
Oh,
here
go ahead.
first, if you don't mind.
Not just for procedural purposes, Mr. Shepro, if you could weigh in here. So what we have in front of us is a resolution that should have been brought for a vote yesterday. That would be this VoIP one. So number C on the top of your page
Yeah,
there.
Yesterday
I'm
would
just-
have, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
yeah, for Mr. Shepro. So we were supposed to vote on this yesterday at county board and it did not get approved because we didn't vote on it. We're talking about
See,
C.
item C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a problem here.
Last week.
It was
Last week.
posted on this agenda, but procedurally,
Isn't it too different?
was gonna vote on it, why is it on this agenda?
I can explain
But-
that.
but
All right, he's
Roger
here.
explained that, I think
So-
it's a vehicle, but
Yeah, so the joint purchasing agreement that authorizes us to use the Houston Galveston Alliance Council, that was on agenda for county board to approve and join the cooperative yesterday. It did not get voted on because of the lack of a quorum. This is the follow-up to that. Think of it like a trailer bill. We're going to actually do the purchase of equipment from that cooperative for Kingcom radio infrastructure. It did not, the cooperative. Yeah. And this would have been subsequent to that, where you approve of the actual hardware and work.
so we can't hear you.
Mike, please.
Keep thinking that the light is green when it's not bright green. You can vote on this and it doesn't have any effect until and unless the board authorizes the purchase agreement at some future date. But I don't know that there's any reason why you couldn't vote on this if you wanted to. That answer your
Jinx it.
question?
No, well, it does, but
you jinxed this meeting.
I respectfully don't agree with you, Mr. Shepro.
Okay, well, you have you
Yeah,
said
so
you have
just a
comment here.
follow-up to
I'm
that.
gonna Let,
Well, I have a follow-up to that because I have a maybe an alternative, right? So we're gonna have a special meeting for. I mean, can we have a special meeting to address this? I mean,
we haven't
we're,
had a
we gotta,
special meeting because
No
we passed those
guarantee.
two, we have no need for a special meeting. It's only 15 minutes. This would have to be after the next board meeting, not after the next executive.
Well, you'd approve of the HGAC cooperative potentially, a good word, potentially on the 16th.
It's on how many people I call.
If you get a quorum and we have enough support, you would pass it on the 16th or not. And then if you didn't pass it on the 16th at the special county board meeting, this would die at exec.
It's currently not scheduled for the 16th. It's
Sorry.
actually,
Sorry,
Any-
I'm sorry.
we can vote.
I'm sorry.
Let's get,
I'm sorry.
We can vote.
Mr. Ford, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, before we get too far into this, we have this whole economic development initiative that we talk about. And this will be a big thing we're trying to do in Kane County. So for me, I had to agree with my colleague that I know it's kind of tough to keep business in King County or but at some point, we got to make the extra effort to actually do that. Because you can't have an economic development plan and you keep sending money out of the county, especially pretty good sized projects. So we got to make up our mind how much we want to play a part of this economic development plan. It just can't be one part. All the parts got to be added to it, else it's not going to really work.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, just point of clarification for that.
Yeah, Mr.
Just to be
Fonstock?
clear, the vendor is not out of Houston, Galveston. Their headquarters is in Aurora. So I just wanted to be perfectly clear that this contractor and the work is here in Aurora.
Okay.
They're on
Does that answer
Eola.
your
Yes.
question then? And Mr. Berman, you had your hand up?
Well, yes, Berman, there's several things. I'm really not normally in favor of putting the cart before the horse. But I think that, we as a 24-member county board are here to support our staff and what they're trying to accomplish for what we've given them to do. And if we can't put together a quorum to pass the information that they need, that, we're really not doing our jobs. So here we are, and we have an opportunity to make a decision that we could move forward to a greater group, the 24 of us, if we can get a consent or get everybody together. So I'm really in favor of that. The other thing is, we're talking international, we're not talking about just Aurora, King County or whatever, but we don't know where these things are being manufactured. We say they're all marketed maybe in one location, but we have to go down to the basics of where all the information is. So I think our decision is made certainly on what our staff feels is the best place to buy it and the best price, and with a company that we can do business with and feel comfortable with. So I'm in favor of moving this forward.
Mr. State's
Yeah,
Attorney, you had a
Shepro,
comment?
I just, picking up off of what Mr. Berman said, this is not, in my mind, legally putting the cart before the horse. This is authorizing the cart to be purchased if, as, and when you buy the horse.
Yeah. Okay. Very simply put, yes. And then Mr. Fonstock?
So for Cambium, just for a point of reference, Scientel is the local vendor. Cambium is headquartered out of Hoffman Estates, Illinois. So just,
So it is
that's where
local,
the
so-
headquarters of the manufacturer of the equipment is.
Okay. And then Mr. Roth, did you have a comment?
And two things. Roger, you were mentioned the special meeting for October 16th.
The county board needs to have a meeting.
It's currently not scheduled.
Okay, well, that
Okay,
was,
I'm just,
that was the understanding that we had, was they're going to try to pick it up again.
Well,
'Cause the budget was on there too.
with our track record, we may not have enough people there anyway.
and the second thing, this is specialized hardware. You can't go down to Radio Shack and buy this,
Oh, no.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and how many alternative vendors do we have to buy this product?
These are the Cambium partners in the area that we would prefer to work
And
with.
that's what our current equipment is.
We have a couple of different types of radio equipment. This is what we're going to for licensed radio frequencies. This is licensed, encrypted, public safety radio, microwave.
Yeah, that's not your everyday.
It is commercial.
Yeah. Okay. And then Michelle's here, and
Yeah, Michelle.
if she wants to,
I'm sorry, you're not running the meeting?
I know.
Ms.
Michelle Guthrie,
I
yeah.
would ask Ms. Guthrie.
I'm just saying she's here. That's all I said.
Good morning.
Do-
Thank
do
you.
you
I
a
echo
comment?
everything that's been discussed. It is, we have some of this already in play. This is compatible with what we're currently using. We're just looking to expand it. The idea of reducing reoccurring costs, from costly phone lines, everything that Mr. Feinstock had stated.
Back up. Ms. Juby,
I just want to stress it's not the product that I'm going to be voting no against. It's the procedure.
thank you. Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Best,
Oops, sorry. That was just,
Ford,
look on mute.
Or no?
Gums. No. Young. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's gone.
Juby,
No,
Caius.
Caius, yes.
That is a tie.
So it fails. Okay, then we would need to discuss, have a special meeting before,
Well,
or
you need to.
right after the
we need
16th.
To know when the HGAC agreement is approved or not approved by the county board then? If that's the procedural issue that members have.
Is that the procedural, are you paying attention? Is that the procedural area that you have a concern about? Ms. Gums or Ms. Juby?
I was looking to see if I would be available. I'm having a hard time with the procedural, with approving
That part I understand.
that's the
If we
problem.
have it afterwards so that we can address that problem,
If we have what afterwards?
a special meeting.
Well,
After-
if the county board holds a special meeting and approves of the HGAC at a county board special meeting, then this would require a special meeting for us to approve of the actual use of the contract. So the special meeting, let's say it is scheduled for October 16th, I think. If that comes to fruition, then after the 16th, if this is a joint purchasing agreement that is authorized by the board, then a special meeting to authorize the use of that agreement for this resolution. That would be the procedural way of getting this.
What was your question? Whether I would be interested in having a special meeting after the special meeting?
Yeah.
Just to make sure we're
Yes, so, yeah.
clear, that's the process
To
we're
vote,
trying
well,
to do.
we would have to have it then to vote on it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, what's
Well,
the
I want to
question?
make sure that
Yes,
everybody's in agreement on this
100% agree.
before we do this, because it's going to be a special
Okay.
meeting we have to show up to.
And it'll be short, special meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
famous
one
last
resolution.
words.
You know,
Mr.
in view of
Berman.
our track record, what if we don't have enough to have a full meeting? What are we gonna do then if we aren't able to have a special meeting?
Yeah, I think that
What's the consequences?
well, one is there's $250,000 in ARPA money that we have to get a contract and an agreement in place before the end of the year. So we could bring this back in November and try to sign it in December probably between Thanksgiving, Christmas and everything else with a new board that will be sworn in December. Just in general, the experience is, a lot of those people have never seen any of these things. So we're going to be running the explanations again, which is fine. And again, I go back to account payable cycle for us to order, receive a service or a good, and then run it through accounts payable. We only get 2 account payable
Well, I
cycles in
think that's
December.
a
So
Little consequence in
that's-
that that's what
that is what
we tasked with because of this vote. And the
yes,
vote stands as far
if
as I
you're
know.
going to do this.
I have a
And I'll give-
question.
Yes, ma'am.
So is there no other cooperative, the other 4 that we belong to, that doesn't service this? No one else does that?
I have not personally looked for Cambium gear on a cooperative, but this is the only one that does. Brooke, you've checked. So,
And I
and-
think Ms. Guthrie is also shaking her head back there.
yeah,
So,
Mr. Chair,
and then.
I
Ms.
would
Gump,
move to reconsider.
You would remove to reconsider? Mr. State's Attorney,
Yeah,
what do we
Desire,
need to do to
I
follow that
believe
procedure?
You need a
should vote
second.
with the prevailing side because it failed, so the motion is in order if there's a second.
I would second it.
So we have a motion and a second, motion by Gums to reconsider, a second by Ford.
Yes.
Then we recall the vote. Is that what we do?
Correct.
Wait, first
Any
you have to
discussion?
vote to reconsider and then
Oh,
it is
let's
once again,
vote to reconsider then.
the original motion's then up for,
Yeah, are we okay, Savannah? Sorry. So then, whenever you're ready, we'll do a roll call.
yes vote is not to pass the resolution, it's to reconsider.
Consider it. Yep. The logic is.
To reconsider, Berman,
Don't you do it.
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Reconsider?
Interesting turn. So we're going to reconsider. Then do
I'll
we
make
need
the
to
motion.
restate again? The motion or?
So we need a motion to restate the vote, right?
You don't need a new motion because you've now agreed
Okay,
to.
all
We're
right.
reconsidering it right now. So is there any discussion? And you had your hand up about that.
No,
or you just
no,
vote?
sir.
Any discussion? We're reconsidering this vote? I can go to call a roll. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young, I'm sorry, Juby,
Juby, no.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes with 1 no.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, motion passes.
we will be following the HGAC and county board very closely. And if anything changes about the nature of that, we'll bring it to exec to inform the board, just so you're aware.
Okay,
We
well,
will
thank you
follow it.
for this consideration.
Mm.
And hopefully this will work out. Okay, then finally,
Easy.
anything on Mill Creek?
No,
Anything
sir.
on this? Vehicles, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing the purchase of a vehicle from Morrow Brothers for the Office of Emergency Management, moved by
Gums.
Ford,
Gums, second by Ford.
So this is a replacement vehicle for OEM. The current vehicle that they have was inspected, I believe, by KDOT. We do have, I think, representative from OEM here if you have questions, but this would be a truck from Morrow Brothers Ford in Greenfield, Illinois. The amount is $58,869. This is a police responder pickup truck. It's an F-150. It's coming out of the capital automotive equipment. It's a budgeted expense. We're recommending the purchase and replacement. And I believe OEM has the grading forms in their office if somebody wants those, but it's a 2013 vehicle with 100,000 miles and it was graded out as a failure by KDOT.
Okay, any comments or questions for this? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes.
Any new business, old business? Oh, new business?
No, old business.
Old business, Ms.
yes.
Juby?
So I just have two things. So when I was looking through the bills, I noticed that we have about $15,000 that we paid for our shades in here that we have never used. So does everyone know we have shades in here?
They, I think I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
I just noticed them yesterday.
who's,
sorry.
Mr. Fonstock?
Yeah, Mark Smith is here with us. Mark can probably explain the chain of events. There's some contracting to finish the controls and things, but Mark, go ahead.
Sure, Mr. Smith?
Mark Smith. What happened was just this week, the remote control that you see right over there on that wall just got put in and got programmed. That actually happened on Monday. So they are now, we can actually use them now. There's 2 more remotes coming. One will go opposite wall, but yeah, they can be used as of Monday.
And why did we authorize blinds for this room? Who authorized
Ask
blinds
the-
for
So
this
that,
room?
that was part of the plan for this year to try to provide some protection from the sun. When you have the change of seasons, there will be meetings where the sun is directly shining into this room.
Okay, I've worn
creates
my
heat.
sunglasses. I just
So
wondered how
it-
this became a
It
thing.
was discussed a couple different times through committee. Before, but I think even before your time with Ms. Allen, Deb Allen. And then
Okay.
it was brought to us by a couple of other board members. I know Madam Chair was one.
Took us 2 years then?
It
to
did. We never
Uh-huh.
budgeted for it until recently and we instructed Mark as one of the project managers to go ahead and do the blinds. It was something that we got quotes for and proceeded with it. So the blinds
that's
are
fine.
here. The
I
other
just-
option was to tint the windows, which would change the coloration in the room.
I was just making a comment because it's like $15,000. And my second one is, was I correct in reading it cost us $1,000 to remove those bushes for the free speech zone?
There were bushes that were in the vicinity. One of them was adjacent to the parking and we talked to, I think it was the forest preserve or it might have been the landscape people about that bush is not native. It's just kind of a scrub type of bush.
Okay.
So we were removing that and we were also creating some space for that. Yes.
$1,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other question?
Yes.
Oh, any other questions?
No.
Okay. Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Ford.
Yeah, I apologize. This may be new business. I don't know if it's new business or old business. I really don't
Sure.
know. But I just want to reinstate my concerns about our economic development plan and not looking at it as, as a 360. So there's a lot of parts that we need to take a look at. And like I said, we had to give ourselves credit because some of it, we've been doing it for a while. So as we look at economic development plan, it's not just about, I can't remember the name of the people out of Chicago that we teamed up with. That seemed to be our focus for the most part. And the other part about that is we can't tell the residents of Kane County that we need money and we're sending money out. I know it's complicated. Sometimes it's not, you can't help it, but it's not just about this part. It's about other parts we do with other departments and stuff.
So in reference to this department here, our administration and building management, is there a procedure that you'd like?
No,
to
I just
see,
say we
or
just
is
need
there-
to our,
is
to our,
that
to our,
Roger?
to us, because it's really more about the board members than anybody else to keep track of this. We just need to do the best we can.
Sure.
That's all.
And I would agree, and I would
Yeah, that's it.
I request that that be part of each and every one. I think the topic comes up fairly frequently, where you almost always mention where the product is coming from, but do we need?
I mean, it's not a state or local requirement, but we do try to, identify and solicit from local contractors.
But I think it happens more with the elected, county-wide elected positions than we know. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with this particular,
Oh.
Okay.
yeah.
And as soon as my knee's feeling a little better, I am local and I will make myself available for bush removal at those rates.
I'm not sure you're qualified.
I even bring my own shovel.
Mr.
It's a
State's
tree.
Attorney, Mr. Shepro.
Essentially a tree.
Just an observation.
Can do it.
Mike, please, being interrupted. The county code, unlike the municipal code, does not allow any consideration to be given for local preference. And it's always struck me as odd that a city can do that, but not the county, and perhaps that's something for the legislative committee to look into. I can't think of any reason why they should be different.
Thank you. Input, Mr. Ford?
Yeah. You can't argue with him, so I know he's right, okay? But at one,
You done?
so at one time, those who've been around for a while, I know Davis is online. We used to practice that here. It was a push to keep funds in Kane County. That used to be part of the practice, even though it wasn't part of the code. But that's what we used to practice.
It was an ongoing effort. That is true.
Not officially, but.
Yes.
Mr. Chair
Berman?
comes.
Isn't it true that we can do that as long as we know about that, what we're doing, and we vote in favor of doing it?
I don't think so. I mean, the definition, it goes to what
Into the
constitutes the
microphone, please.
lowest responsible bidder.
And then Ms. Gums?
It hasn't been an issue.
Just
Okay.
for, if anybody happens to know off the top what that code is.
I'll talk to you offline.
Okay.
Okay, then, is any other old business or that we need to discuss?
No.
May I have a motion and second, place the reports on file, moved by
Comes.
Bert, yeah.
Asking for unanimous consent or approval.
Yeah, there you go. Unanimous consent by Berman. Any objection? Reports are on file. Then I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by,
Davis moves to adjourn.
second by Berman. I heard that as a squeal over there. Was that a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Well, right at an hour and a half.